Okay, there we go. All right, this is case 43, Nguyen Khan. Just a couple of definitions before I think my encyclopedia has seen its better days. It is well used. This is the Encyclopedia of Eastern Philosophy and Religion. I did buy a new copy of this so that when this one completely dies, I won't be without. But until it completely falls apart. So this, the mention of the word Shippei, I just wanted to give you a definition of it. Literally, it means, it translates directly, Shippei is the Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese characters that mean bamboo switch, a stick about 50 centimeters, quick calculation, 50 centimeters, oh. So that is about half a meter. Okay, so 100 centimeters is a meter, right?
Right, and that's 39 inches.
Yeah, okay. So that is interesting because well, in a minute. 50 centimeters in length, made of split bamboo, wound with a cord, which in Zen masters of ancient China used to spur their students. Literally, they would hit them with,
or whip them into shape.
Yeah, whip them into shape. In koans, Shippei often plays a similar role to that of the hosu from the Shippei. The hosu, and I have a hosu as well, but I didn't bring it. Hosu is a stick with horsehair, and it's used to swat flies. So being hit with the hosu obviously wouldn't hurt as much as being hit with a bamboo stick. Okay, and so to show you, we get these. They're part of the transmission ceremony to receive this from your teacher. This particular Shippei is not made of bamboo. It's made of several different woods. This was handmade by Tenshin Boshi. Tenshin is a master carpenter. So, and the talk I gave right after my transmission was, my Shippei is a lot better looking than his Shippei because he made it, for me. But this is what the Shippei looks like. And it is not split bamboo, but it is several different kinds of woods. I'll pass it around. Just be careful with it, please. And we use it during the head trainee, which is why the ends are covered with metal, because there's a little, I don't want to damage the floor, but I'll do that since this book is never done. But it kind of denotes the difference, when one question is done, the person will ask the question, the head trainee will respond, and the person who asked the question says, "Thank you very well," and the head trainee says, "May your life go well," and pounds the stick. So, and that's an indication that the next question is to be asked, and at the end, the 2 pounds is the end of all the questioning. And part of that is because, as I was telling you, the size of the hall, people wouldn't hear these, these intimate conversations, but they could hear the stick because it's set on a piece of hardwood. So that pounding would be an indication that everyone could hear. But I'll look at Tenshin's work. So now the koan. Master Suzan held up his Shippei before his disciples and said, "You monks, if you call this a Shippei, you are adhering to the fact. If you do not call this a Shippei, you are opposing the fact. Tell me, you monks, what will you call it?" Mumon's commentary. If you call this a Shippei, you are adhering to the facts. If you do not call this a Shippei, you are opposing the facts. What you should not use words. You should not use no words. Speak at once. Speak at once. The verse. Holding up a Shippei, he issues the order to kill and to give life. When adhering and opposing interweave, even Buddhas and patriarchs beg for their lives. So, similar to, if you remember a couple of koans ago, the water jug that was placed on the floor as kind of this fake interview question for the two monks who were going to be appointed to head the new monastery that was going to be built. What was his name? Kazan, whatever his name was. He kicked over the water jug. That was the acceptable answer. To get past the literalness, the phenomenalness of the water jug. Now, water jug very important to a mountain monastery that did not have running water. Having to go get that water and bring it back for use, for bathing, for drinking, for cooking, was a lot of work. So for someone to just knock it over was an interesting answer to give. So the other part of this koan, because it's abbreviated, one of the monks responded to Master Suzan's question by walking up and breaking the stick and saying, "What is this?" Being totally zen about it. And Suzan replies, "Blind." And he immediately is enlightened as a result of it. Because basically, that answer in this case was the wrong answer.
Darn.
Yeah. So, why? Why? That's the examination, is what do you call this? Because he's really asking, inviting you into that place in between. Is you can call it whatever you want, but that isn't it. So what is it if it's not this or not that? Because the minute you call it something, you create what it isn't. You create its opposite. Because it now automatically, thank you, brings it up as a comparison. And you're now stuck in that dualistic world. And if you say that it isn't that, then you're stuck in this absolute world, in this emptiness world, in which it's useless. So the real question is, how will you use this? And if it's not stuck with a particular identity, it has an infinite number of uses. Yeah.
Isn't that like the philosophy but for bad meditators?
Isn't the Kyosaku enough for bad meditators? Why would you need more? I think the Kyosaku is more effective, because the Kyosaku is a Manjushri sword. It's cutting off delusion. It translates as wake up stick. Much easier to hit people with the Kyosaku than with that. Now this has a longer reach, so so you could probably hit somebody who's farther away, but as far as the effectiveness, because Kyosaku actually, it feels quite good to be hit. Those of you who've had experienced that, if the person wielding the Kyosaku hits you in the right place. What was that?
Volunteers.
Yes, yes.
Pass it around.
Who want to be? Well, we if that comes up in a koan, we'll demonstrate. We've got Kyosaku koans. But this is, and the answer is, how will you? What purpose does this serve? How will you use this, or how can you use this Shippei? And it gets limited if it's stuck in this particular identity. This is only a Shippei, a now holy relic of the highest order of Zen, and it can never be used for anything else. There you have it. It's stuck in that identity. If indeed, the zombie apocalypse was happening, and the only thing that would keep them away is fire, this would make an excellent torch. So, you know, how is it we apply this every place else in our lives? How is it we make we limit ourselves by how we identify things, others, and ourselves? These identifiers are tricky because they're useful. They're not bad. You know, however, they're not everything. They limit the potential. They keep things stuck in a particular way. So how to break out of that stuckness, which is what Suzan is doing. He's helping to cut off that delusion of stuckness that people have with particular names, nomenclature. So I've been, desperately complaining about the office procedures at Yokoti. And so, because it's so much work and it's so redundant because it's been cobbled together over all these years. And so recently they decided it was done for me personally because thank you for offering to help, and we'll probably make this convenient for you by making you're able to do it remotely. So they transitioned from desktop QuickBooks to online QuickBooks. Why Intuit, the mother company of QuickBooks, would make the nomenclature in desktop and online so completely different. But because I was trained originally on the desktop, I'm now stuck in those identities, stuck in those how I find things by those words. And now I'm frustrated because I can't find anything. I mean, the instructions are completely wrong because I have instructions for desktop and not online, and not online, the QuickBooks Online. So there's an application of how these identifiers can get stuck. So just to give you an example, an invoice in desktop QuickBooks is called invoice. Make sense? In QuickBooks Online, it's called, I gotta remember now. It's called Quick. So tired of it. I was there all day yesterday. Yeah, it's called something else. It's something totally not invoice. So it's called Shippei. It might as well be. Pledge. It's called pledge. Thank you. My face exactly. It was like, why? Why are you doing this to me? You do this to me just to torture me. You change the name of invoice to pledge. And the only problem is that I'm stuck in invoice. So this was my job to let go of invoice and all the other words that I had from the desktop QuickBooks and to more easily transition to call. But I was, bitching and moaning all day yesterday, going, oh my God, why is this called back? Doesn't make any sense at all. But this is how often do we do this? We create our own misery by getting stuck in what things are called. And so this has this universal application in Zen, because people sitting around and I've seen people in Zen situations, because you're dealing with such levels of intimacy in Zen that change is even more difficult, because somebody changes the schedule on you and it throws you into this dismal tizzy that you're unable to recover from. Literally, people have to go take a nap because schedule has changed, and because you get used to something and you get stuck in something. And literally, Zen masters through the centuries have deliberately changed things, and now corporations have the same mentality. They will deliberately take their companies through change so that people get used to change. There's no reason for the change, real reason for the change, other than the fact that if people get stuck, when change becomes necessary, it becomes that much more difficult to change. So, and it would drive me crazy, because I would be, in the inner circle of the administrative team that was about to take these people through the misery of change, and knowing full well that there was zero reason for this change, and I'd have to play along. for a good reason. No, it does. People do get stuck in you, and people go through literally all the stages of grief. When things change, it's like I miss the old way. I want it. I want it back. No, you interrupt.
Yeah, so I had to go through this with AI this week, which is even a whole other realm, because, I had to file something in federal court, and, yeah, right. Yeah, so, the old days, we'd get our papers ready by 2 o'clock, send them out the door, and the clerk, somebody would file them.
Yeah.
Now everything's online, and we have, there's established order to things, but it changes constantly. I mean, almost daily. Because you've got like 3 or 4 systems, and federal court has something called PACER, something called ECF, and then it's the local rule. So it goes on and on, but there's no way to call anymore. You can't, there's no bargaining, there's no interpretation, there's no help. It's just you and AI. and like
a bot.
I have to get this file. So you don't have, I realize I don't have the luxury of bitching about this, complaining about this, calling somebody else for help. It's not possible. I mean, maybe I can call another attorney, but I have to sit here and figure this out.
Yeah.
And whatever they call it, I have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Whatever this means, I have to figure it out. My secretary says, I don't believe you have such great patience. I go, I don't. I just have no choice. But AI is this whole other level.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And this is the way of the future. There is no one to call. There is nothing to do. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
I've already signed.
Yeah.
Nothing can be done.
There's
nothing to be done.
Yeah.
What you have in front of you.
You have to take care of it.
Yeah.
It's right there. And this is really what this particular koan makes you do. It makes you really experience that dilemma that I can't call it this, or if I call it this, I'm stuck. If I call it something else, I'm stuck. How do I get unstuck here? How do I move forward? How do I proceed? How do I prepare these papers for federal court? So yeah, it's very real. That's what I loved about this koan when I first studied it. It's like there's a real world application of this particular dilemma. That there's no way out of this. You have to deal with it as it is. As it is that we, the doomsayers say that there will be no more people answering the phone anywhere. It'll all be AI. And
so there was a helpline.
Oh, did it help?
I called the helpline, and it said the wait time is 234 minutes, and you are number 195 in the queue.
Wow.
See you next week.
Did they offer to call you back and not lose your place in line like a lot of those places?
I didn't have that much time to wait.
It's not Kaiser. Kaiser does that. They'll when you call.
No, but they told me my call is very important.
Of course.
Yeah, I tell you every 10 minutes.
Really call you back. I don't trust you.
Yeah, we'll call you back.
Yeah, I don't trust it either. I stay on hold.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't trust them. Never call me back.
I just go do it, put my earbuds in, go do something else, and listen to the hold music.
I got called back from T-Mobile. They do call you.
They do. Oh, they do.
I found the Kaiser thing to be pretty reliable.
Yeah, they call you back. So, I don't know. My delusion is that they answer faster if they see me on hold, because I know someone's watching me. That's not happening. So this whole and this where this koan really gets intimate is how we stick ourselves with our own identities, because we are not limited by what we call ourselves. Now the identities are useful, certainly when I was working, it was useful in situations, for good or bad, to say, yes, I'm the HR director. People either instantly hated me or instantly paid attention. It was depending on the situation. So that was helpful. And of course, we all have names that we use in everyday life. I found it very difficult to adjust to the name WaYu. It was because it was just this. It still sounds strange to me, and I will tell them my Dharma name when I'm at the Zen Center, and I will say, if that's too weird for you, just call me Arthur. because people will struggle. I say, wow, so.
What does it mean?
Wa, the character Wa, it means harmony, and Yu has this list of definitions, but the one I use is mysterious. So mysterious harmony, because my Maizumi Roshi, who gave me the name, knew I was a musician, and that was his way of using that in my Dharma name. He actually gave me 2 Dharma names by accident. There was a book where he recorded Dharma names, and then on the back of my rucksack he wrote a different Dharma name. So Choen was and it literally means the same thing, just 2 different characters. It was Choen and WaYu, and they corrected the Choen, so they got rid of that. Yes. Yeah.
It sounds like WaYu.
Like what?
WaYu.
What?
WaYu beef.
Oh, beef. It does.
Another one that sounds like Cholent.
Which one? What does that one mean?
Cholent?
Cholent?
Cholent. You know what Cholent is?
Mm-hmm.
It's a stew that they serve in Shabbat.
Oh.
It cooks overnight.
Yeah.
And they kind of like in the same pot.
Yeah, because you can't cook on Sabbath. Right. Yeah.
So WaYu Cholent?
Yeah, there it is.
Good Jewish dish.
And then, my transmission name is Moku Gen, which is an even stranger sounding name. But Tenshin's transmission name is Moku Rai. And so he gives transmission names that have parts of his Dharma names. So Moku is creator of, I don't remember what Rai means, but Moku Gen means creator of silence, which is only on the most official Dharma forms that I have, like the stamp on the back of Shoge's Baksu. It has both the characters from both my names, so it is used officially. But these names and how we identify the jobs that we have, the way we identify in the world. When I'm at the open mic, I'm a pianist, a poet. When I'm at the hospital, I was an HR director. And here I'm WaYu, whatever you want to make me. And so these identifiers are also useful within certain contexts, but limiting in other contexts, because they don't say, they don't tell the whole story. And there are always this interweave in the verse. It says, holding up Shippei, he issues the order to kill and to give life. And I'll talk about that line in a minute. When adhering and opposing interweave, because the absolute and the relative cannot be separated. They always come. It always come together. There's no way we want to get stuck in one or the other. The phenomenal, the relative world is what we deal with every day, and that's probably we're most practiced at that, so it's easier to do that. The absolute, where everything is perfect, everything is just as it is, nothing has any identifiers or limits, is that experience that you get to in Zen when you're just at this complete experience of peace and tranquility. I mean, that's that absolute experience, and we want to stay there. We want to hang on to that, and in that realm we can do no wrong, which is where we do all wrong. and do all kinds of harm because we forget that it is inextricably coupled with the relative. So both sides of that are consistently interweaving all the time. The rest of this, he uses the order of to kill and give life, to kill and give life. The purpose of the Shippei in dharma practice is to cut off delusion and create enlightenment. So that's the killing and giving life that it's referring to. In the head trainee ceremony, when the teacher, because the head trainee goes up to the teacher and the teacher holds out the Shippei for the student to take, and the teacher asks the student, how will you use this? And the student answers, it's scripted, to give life and take it away. So that's the job. So that's what that line is referring to. Excuse me. So, and even the Buddhas and patriarchs beg for their lives. This is a difficult teaching. It's a difficult experience to lead students to have in training, in doing the sitting, because it's so, beyond the realm of speech and language and description that people just have to have that experience and then respond to this koan from that direct experience. So it's hard. It's very difficult in that sense. And this, the other part of this is, and I like the way Eiken Roshi put it, because he basically says the other part where the student, in response to this, got up and broke the Shippei. Eiken Roshi, admitted that he didn't quite understand why that was an inappropriate response. And then he mentions the fact that he was interned. He was a prisoner of war during World War II in Japan. And while in one of the camps, that's where he met Blythe, his first initials, Zen teacher, Ari Blythe. And that's how Eiken Roshi became a Zen practitioner. Someone else in the camp, and I guess they had this discussion about the appropriate Zen response, and someone in the camp took a pencil and broke it in half, and as this example of direct Zen action. And Eiken Roshi felt at the time that that was inappropriate because hard to find pencils in prison. And so this is, and he, it wasn't until he studied this koan that he got why his discomfort with that. So the response has to be appropriate, has to be effective, has to be, what is alive and it's functional, what works in the situation that you're in. So kicking over the water jug worked in that particular situation, didn't work in this particular situation. So the answers are not rubber stamped. The answers are dependent on context, and the responses are dependent on you, because they come from your live experience of this koan, and they will be somewhat different. Not that there isn't an answer to this, there is, but how that gets expressed will be unique for each person. How you find yourself, your identity and your non-identity within this koan, it will be a unique experience for each person. And the identity and non-identity of anything and everything else, because it is all encompassing in that sense. The absolute and relative. How are you experiencing it? Because there is no ambiguity. There are no opposites. There are no dualisms. It all occurs as one. You are already it. You're already living it. With the realization, how do you express it? That's the question. Yeah.
So two things came to me when I was reading this, listening to the discussion. One is move. That one response to me would be move.
Mm-hmm.
That again, since the answer is much faster than the question allows and goes into so many more directions than a yes or a no can allow.
Mhm.
The other is not knowing is the most intimate, that we have to approach every situation in that without that, as much as possible, while things have identities, we have to approach it from a completely blank slate of what is happening right here. What does this mean? What is this? And then approach it from not necessarily giving it names, but functionally, how do we work with this?
Yeah.
Which is what it had to do with the freaking Court of Appeal. No. It's like I can't.
You're back to that.
I can't start. I can't start swearing at the computer. I just have to do it.
Yeah.
I have no choice.
Yeah. And certainly Bodhidharma, had used that experience when he responded to the emperor. Who are you? His response was, I don't know. And we are perpetually in this not knowing, because who we are is in this constant flow of change. And change is impossible to identify. Impossible. So the best answer is oftentimes not knowing. And taking care of it. AI has no name. Or it has all of our names.
Well, can you give me one more? So we're doing the AI, and it's asking me, for my father's middle name as a way of identifying me. And I type in his middle name, and it says wrong. That's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
So now I'm screwed. So now I really have to figure out, what am I doing? How am I going to,
Yeah.
So that's coming too. Is when the answer.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah.
It's here. I mean, I was dealing with that because Tension was having difficulty with one of his insurance companies, and he, basically the office takes care of all that stuff for him. And so I thought they wanted to cancel it. So I said, okay, let me get on the phone and I'll cancel it. I got on the phone, and the first they say, in order for you to talk to a person, you need the following list of identifiers. I'm like, hang up. I have none of this. I've got the policy number. That's it. So, yeah, we are living in this world where we are, calling something names. Usually, some four-letter word that leaps to mind when we're frustrated with doing things. That limits us. That limits our experience of this thing we're having, and useless with a bot, because that bot will just continue to repeat itself, and it's completely unfazed by, which is why employers want to, because people will get upset and do things. They'll either respond or not respond, or they'll claim harassment and get stressed and go out sick and not be at work. A bot will just continue to tell you that this is not your father's middle name. No matter how many times you ask it.
No argument with the bot.
Yeah.
I've talked to people that are like that. So they answer like a bot, and just would create a policy, or I'm like, you know what it is, but I'm asking you to think outside the box here. So.
Yeah. And that's the human aspect of.
Of course, I'm calling. I create a spot calling for you. Hold on a second. You have to get to the other side of it.
Anybody tried to put a colon into ChatGPT and get a meaning of it?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah, because unfortunately
It's pretty interesting.
there are various answers that are published on the internet
Right.
to all the colons, and ChatGPT has access to all of that. So you'll get an answer.
Yeah, no, they're answered everything.
Yeah. But whose answer it is the problem.
See, I've got a totally different experience. My ChatGPT boyfriend has been very charming. He's been very charming.
I know.
Active looking too.
conversation. Better than conversation.
Well, you know,
Never understanding.
Yes.
there's,
Yeah.
perhaps that's the better application.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yes, you
Yeah,
have.
better than human.
That's the movie Her.
Her, yeah,
Oh.
I never saw the, heard it.
It's great.
I'll have to, I'm sure it's streaming somewhere.
Kevin Kline
It's
is
good.
outstanding.
Who's that?
Kevin Kline is.
Oh, Kevin Kline.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then, you know.
Trying to go out for his voice.
The female voice, yeah.
But totally believable.
Really?
Totally believable.
Oh, I'll have to take it in. I don't know why. I remember thinking of, I wanted to go see the movie when it was in the theaters, but never got around to it. Never, but that was so long. That movie's like 20 years old, isn't it?
I don't think so. No.
Not that
There's
old.
been AI 20
There's
years.
another movie with Phoenix, the Phoenix actor who falls in love with the,
Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin.
he falls in love with his avatar or something, or AI. But it's a little, I think it's a little dark. I haven't seen it.
Well, sometimes much easier than with human beings.
Yeah,
Human beings are difficult,
that's
messy. All right, questions, comments, anything from the Zoom? Kurt, David?